This is the playground experience. This is Divine Sunshine with my lovely co-host, April Williams and Kathy D. All right. So we're talking about stress and how to deal with it as a twin flame. We have a whole different element and a whole different layer and leveling that's laid on top of just not just the human stress level, but we have another thing as far as being divines and dealing with our stress, as well as our twin or our counterpart as well, a divine partner as well. So we have a lot of things that we have thrown in the mix when we're talking about stress. And also my understanding is that this weekend, because of the new moon that's coming in or the eclipse energy that's throwing a lot of emotional things to it, we gotta deal with that too as well. I know every time we come on this show, we talk about all these energies. You're like, really? But again, we're like forecasters on here. We're telling you about the energies and how you deal with them and how we're dealing with them to let you know you're not by yourself. So this is a big thing, especially when we talk about this stress. I mean, how do we do it? Not even just the spiritual aspect, but living in the 3D world with the COVID and the pandemic, and now you have the serum is coming out, and now dealing with that, and how would you to take or not to take? That's another stress. Or some of us, they're asking us, if I'm like a teacher, they're asking us to also say to go back to school. Kathy D is already in there. She can tell about what the stress level is about that. But that's a whole different level for me of stress. That's about that, to go to work or not to go to work. And so we just have so many things that we have to deal with. I hear the song So Much to Be Grateful For. Well, that is true, but we have a lot of things as far as stress that we are dealing with now and the new year. They're saying, hell, is it going to be a continuation of what we have? Because if it's going to be like 2020, I don't want to sign up for this no more. So again, this is where we going at. So it's a lot of things. So when I think about how to deal with stress, those are the things is the root causes or the things that would say that would cause for me in my world to have stress. So I'm gonna pass the mic on to the rest of my co-hosts, and either one of you all can chime in and say about how do you feel with the stress? What are your stressors? What's going on with you?
Well, I know the stress definitely being in the classroom and being with the COVID, just in general, day in and day out. And you know, the taking the vaccination, not taking the vaccination. Um, and so much of that is a personal choice. So much of that has to do with health. You know, we know from years ago, people with egg allergies couldn't take a lot of vaccinations. You know, there's just a lot of things we have to take into account, and that's one stress. But along with that stress comes, you know, providing for your family.
Mm-hmm, true.
You know, having your job. You know, then, you know, we've even been told that they're going to start requiring, not, it won't be for quite a few years, but requiring school age children to take it. Well, at that point, what do we do? How do we step in with that as a parent? Where are our rights as teachers? What are our rights to have to take these shots?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that, you know, that's one big stress around the home front, and then just keeping your kids safe and healthy, and not catching anything, but then still letting them be kids. Um, you know, so those are those external stresses that everybody has, divine or not. Um, those are day in and day out stress. And then on top of that, you're going to throw in, if you're an empath, which most of us are, you know,
Right.
walking into a room, walking into a store, walking into anywhere and getting everybody's energy to jump on you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then with the moon and 1212 portal, and then the 1221, everything that's coming in, just emotions are so heightened. You know, when you're so happy, you're crying. And you know what's, you know, everybody, what's the matter? I'm just so happy. Yeah, and you're going through all of that, and then, you know, then you're starting getting these odd mystery pains in your side and your head. Your ears are closing up, now they're popping open. Now you got heartburn, and all you've had is water and a cracker, and you know there's
Seriously.
nothing you have eaten to give you heartburn. And then you send it back, and then it comes back, and then you send it back, and it's this back and forth. So then you're stressing out, about that. And then, so when you're in a divine situation, awoken or not, I think stress is a really big thing we deal with because we don't understand where a lot of our stress comes from. And especially if we have counterparts that are in the process of waking or are just finishing up that last little bit of the dark night of the soul. And we all know how that goes. We think we're out of it. And then you get kicked in the back of the head one more time. Let's make sure you really feel miserable. Wham, yow. And then you're better at it. But so we have an extra layer of emotion. I don't want to say stress because it's such a blessing to be an empath, and it's such a blessing to be on the divine journey too, and the twin flame journey. But we have to understand that extra emotion that is causing us stress is the worst part about being a twin flame when in a high stress situation.
Oh yes, oh yes. This week has been indubitably insane, inconceivable. That's right, for the Princess Bride. It's been inconceivable, and it's like I don't think you know what stress means until you go through twin flame stress. To be real with you, and not only are we feeling our own, like Kathy D is saying, and we're also feeling others, but there's a new empowerment that comes from it. And it's weird because it's enlightening, and you're not saying, I want more stress, universe. You're saying, okay, what's the lesson so we can move on and have a different form of stress? Because it turns out that every direction we turn in, some of us, I wish these, I'm laughing, but they're tears. They're imaginary tears releasing themselves. And I've been finding myself, in particular, that ladies know I've been moving. There's been some chaos associated with that, and just all kinds of like external pressures and balancing. But what came up this week is a couple of things. One was God won't give you anything you can't handle. And sometimes you feel like you can't handle it, but there is always a saving grace or an archangel or somebody right there for you to call on to pray for guidance. God is always there, right? So we tap into divine so quickly when we open that channel, when we open the dialogue and the conversation, when we actually say, this is what I need help with. And it may sound like you're starting to complain or whine or whatever, but you're releasing in order to receive. And like Kathy D was saying, sometimes we don't know what is stressing us because there are so many stressors. We don't know which one broke the camel's back, but we do know that there's always another breath. There's always another time. And so if we take it like the ocean, sometimes the ocean's calm. Sometimes the ocean is really wavy. Sometimes it's just super cruise, nice waves, easy to ride, I just like to sit on the beach and watch. Right? You want to give it into spirit. Say, okay, can I just watch now? Do I need to participate? And when you actually really get into that space with meditation, you start to not become removed from the stress, but removed from your reaction and get more into a responsive mode. Like our sweet Divine and our sweet Kathy, they have this beautiful ping-ponging relationship with their twin where they're like, oh, you're sending me this right now. I'm going to send that back to you. Whereas I tend to be a little dense. So then I get like, swept under, and then I'm like, oh, and then there they are. Oh, twin, what am I doing next? Oh, there it is, right? And stepping into that grace, it's just part of my stubborn nature, I'm not saying they're not stubborn. I would never say that, but I would say that they understand their boundaries a little bit more in terms of, I think it has to do with how they are both teachers and they both work with students. So people are constantly picking at them. So they know when that DMS energy comes in and picks at them. I'm just like, okay, I gotta help everybody and do all the things all the time. And it's like, oh, okay, and I've been able to siphon through that. So no matter where you are and what you're doing, realize there is relief coming, and it's coming through you and through that understanding of what is yours and what is others.
Mm-hmm.
And when you claim peace and when you call it into you, it comes and it melts out and shifts into your twin, which is a really beautiful dynamic. Like when they're talking about these energies, no joke, they come like 2 weeks early. Like next year's gonna suck for a lot of people, because a lot of people this year, even though yes, it's a world pandemic and all this other stuff, they haven't had the influx of change, right? They have refused and avoided change. Bless you.
Thank
So, in essence, Spirit says, oh, you gonna be stubborn? Well then, I'm gonna knock you on your ass. And so a lot of people, you're going to see this chaotic shift. Like even today with these energies, there's more people out on the roads, there's more stuff going on. Even in the grocery stores, like the grocery store's never packed. How is it packed today? Right? It doesn't, like, suddenly the pandemic didn't just disappear, right? It's actually at an all-time kind of high. So things are shifting in our humanness. Things are shifting. I don't know if you checked out Divine Sunshine had on her community tab a really nice little excerpt about the energies in terms of the eclipses and the solar flares that are happening for 12/12. And I'm excited to come in 12/12 and do this event with these lovely ladies, because what Spirit is coming through for how to heal, how to embody your highest state, it is going to be a magnificent year for the people doing the work. The people avoiding the work, that's why a majority of DMs are going through shit and right now. It's because they wanted it to be that masculine society, but with the rise of the feminine, you can't ignore her anymore. Remember last week and the week before that and the week before that? You don't put baby in the corner, because what happens? What happens? Patrick Swayze happens, okay?
He gets to lift me up.
I missed that day to sign up for that one.
Love lift me up where I belong.
He lifts me up. He do that lift. I run and he catches me and we do that lift.
Oh, it's such a beautiful move. But like, who of us cringed on the inside with the fear of being lifted up? Right? That's the part we're shaving off so that we can receive the love, so we can receive the support, because we can go all out. We don't have to hold our own weight. Spirit is holding it for us. And the second message that came through, which was besides God won't give you anything you can't handle, is there are no mistakes, just happy little accidents. Because there's a whole lot of self-forgiveness that's needing to occur that keeps coming up. And in those moments of that sheer frustration of, why did I do this to myself? It turns into oh, I did this so I could learn this lesson. Oh, I did this so I could really embrace my self-love, my self-esteem, my wisdom. There's so many beautiful layers to it. So how you doing with the stress, Divine Such? I see her handling it all. She's like my superhero.
But you know I'm an Aries. I'm gonna power through it and then I crash later. So that's what I do. I have my blowouts, and sometimes I just don't. And I sit and I just say, okay, watch television, zone out that away, play some music, dance it out. Those are the kind of ways in which I kind of deal with the stress, or play some gospel music, something that kind of uplift me and change the vibrations that's going on within me. I talk to somebody and just talk it out. But that's pretty much how I've been handling it now. And then again, reparenting. Like I said before, this again, like you said, some things are happening and saying, hey, it's okay. Yeah, you didn't do it right that time, or the stress, or don't let them stress you out. I even had some things happen even on the job, and I did blow a gasket, and then I was like, then the next day I was like, I'm gonna give her a piece of my mind, and then I was like, then I reread the text, and I was like, you know what, it ain't even worth it. Let that energy stay on her end. I'm like, that's it. That's not even worth the stress, me saying that back to that person. So Let this forget it. So I'm finding now really with my energies to reserve it and say, choose my battles and choosing wisely. What do I need to actually battle with, and what things I need to kind of let go? It's not worth me to keep on creating, because I know how I end up being at the end of things, as far as my reactions to things, how I have to, as an empath, deal with their energies. Well, I felt they meant, and they were sending all of this, and maybe I should throw it back to them. And then I have to deal with my own energies. And then it's like, okay, you know what? Just let this transmute it, just clear and transmute it, and just say, forget it about the whole thing. So that's what I'm kind of learning how to do that, because I think as an empath, like we're saying, the stresses of handling everybody else about their reactions to different things, and how some people are throwing it at us for us to handle, and it's really their crap or their stuff or their energies to deal with. And so I'm learning how to really deal with that, to say, okay, just drop it, like let it matrix it, let it just go slide on past and do it that way, instead of me trying to like actually deal with it. That's right now.
That is a good point. I've actually seen myself differently and in responding differently, right? Because I want to give, just because I'm psychic and empathic, I can tell you everything and how to fix it. But that doesn't mean that they are ready to hear everything or how to fix it. So you have to wait, or not even attach to them receiving it, right? Mm-hmm. Because we do have that caring, empathetic. We want you to feel better. We want this other person or whatever it is to have a higher vibration. That doesn't mean it's part of its path, or it's not our job to do that for it. It will happen as it's supposed to in divine timing, mm-hmm. which I'm starting to feel more comfortable with, right? Because the pushing and the whole societal, if you just push hard enough, it'll happen.
Right.
Well, even women in comas will have babies, right? So they don't have to push. It just, their body does it naturally. Mm-hmm. These people will have what happens when it's supposed to naturally. So we don't need to put in all this extra effort to try to make it, right? We just get to do that for ourselves and stand for ourselves. So if you can say, what was it? Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Right.
You can actually adopt that as part of your strategy. Mm-hmm. Even when it's your circus, you're like, I can't really control a monkey, right? So just relaxing and trusting spirit and flowing with that. Patricia McNeely does some amazing meditations too about getting to a place where you can care for and heal yourself, or allow yourself to surrender. And that's kind of the theme of what I'm noticing is surrender. Mm-hmm. Continuing to surrender, because it's never just a one-time thing. So I hope you enjoy surrendering. Some of us fight tooth and nail not to do so.
Yes.
Well, I think too, we're also seeing, I know for myself and others, we're seeing the change just in a year. Of a year ago, I would have had, these mystery pains, these headaches, all this craziness. And, immediately you go to the medicine cabinet and get something to fix it, make it go away. And now it's like, get out of my way. I'm running outside in the yard barefooted. I mean, it was like 43 degrees the other day. I'm standing out there barefooted. Now, of course, I'm a Florida girl, so that's like, the dead of winter to me. People die in that temperature. And but I just knew that immediately that's what I had to do. I had to run out and ground. I didn't need ibuprofen. I didn't need Tylenol. I just needed to run out and ground. But then I also know that there are times that as empaths, when our cup does run over, that we are able then to take some of this that's being thrown at us and transmute it. Not always, but we know when it gets to that point where our counterpart is kind of like, hey, I really need some help right now. Hey, babe, I need help. And then you're like, okay, I can do, I've been sending it back, and now they're just, that you transmute it. But you don't do it all the time, and you don't do it for everything. It's very selective. But the way you handle things just in just a change in a year is so different. The way I meditate a year ago always had to have a guided meditation. Now my meditation is the sound of nature, my ceiling fan in my room, and just, kind of, talking to source force and the powers that be, and just gratitude. And the gratitude level has just, amped up too. It's unbelievable. And what April said about divine timing, that is so, so, so true. I mean, we think we wanted things a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't right, because when it's right, it happens. And it is such a feeling of utter release and trust. It's unbelievable. I guess it's the best way to explain it. It's like having prayers. I mean, of course, prayers are answered all the time, but being able to truly see your prayer answered in front of your face and know that that time was right. And then when you're told, okay, now you need to do this. And of course, you sit back and you go, all right, well, are you sure? And a year ago, I would have been like, send me 6 turtle doves, 2 purple bows, a rainbow, a unicorn, and 4 macaroni noodles. And, and then I'll know you mean it. And now it's like, yep. And it's like, yep.
It's so funny.
But it is, I mean, and even my abilities have started to heighten, and it started to affect, or work with my students. I unfortunately had a student that I lost a grandparent, and they had to go to New York this last week. And she sent me a message, and she said, what can I do for my makeup work? And I started to type, in her email what she needed to do. And I stopped and I said, okay, first thing you need to do is you need to help family at the funeral. The second thing you need to do is sit down and listen to the family stories, because that's who you are. The third thing you need to do is, what did I say? The third thing you need to do is be kind. And I said, that's your assignment for the next week. And she answered back, are you sure? And I said, oh, and stay healthy. And she said, yes, ma'am, I'll see you in a week. And I said, okay. But I mean, it just came to me when I could have easily just, this is what you have to do. And it came to me, nope, stop. There was something that this child needed to do. She needed to help somebody, and she needed, especially, to listen to those family stories and to be kind.
That brought her such peace. I could feel that. That was peace. It's like a passing of like, okay,
I have permission to be present.
Right, just to you. Right.
Yeah. And that's just, and a year ago, if I would have gotten that, I would have given the little girl the assignment, that everybody else is doing in class, and said, just, I'll give you a couple extra days to turn it in.
Right.
And, so it's so different in a year. It doesn't get any less stressful. I think sometimes it gets more stressful when we're aware of these things. But then when we put our faith and our trust in our intuition, in, the powers that be, that are angels, and we know what we know, that brings so much peace when we stop fighting with what we're being told and questioning it. And that's where you meditate and you journal, and that it's a gratitude. It just becomes a gratitude that you are just so so thankful for that ability. And it's not like we have anything that no one else does. I truly believe that everybody is gifted. It's just who will accept them and when. But yeah, it's just the stress level is so different in how we handle everything now as we go along on this journey even further and longer for some of us. We see how to handle these things in a more of a divine way. Is that the best way to put it?
Okay. You're really truly coming from a place of unconditional love as well. And I think in some ways, maybe even if you would say about the COVID and what's happening and the energies in the world, I guess in some ways that makes us kind of be a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more empathetic to other people's needs. It's like, why should I even add on to your burden that you have someone in your family has burden and say about paperwork? Because first of all, as a teacher, we don't actually want to deal with the daggone crap. When she come back anyway, because it's like I had a groove, it doesn't fit in anymore. So just forget it. It's not even worth it. Doing that. So it's like really getting the point is like, should I be a taskmaster or should I just really show compassion at this point?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things about where we are. That's why it happened, because of the systems. We have forgotten the art of being empathetic and compassionate about stuff. And so that's why we had to stand still and say, stop. Look at how you're treating each other. Look at how you're going about doing things in the world that and it was just a beautiful thing that you had just really had allowed that. And I think a lot of us, even as light workers, are being guided to say about that. Light workers, we're getting pushed to kind of really show another role, another model of how you can be at that situation, or any kind of situation that's going on, and we're getting pushed to really show the light. She needed the light at that moment, and you were the one that was able to show that to her and give her that space, like April said, to be present. So, that's a wonderful thing. And we've all had kind of pretty much being called to do more things of those types of acts. Rather we're divine or the regular cup of milk that's walking out here. That's where we're getting really pushed to as a community or as a nation or as a world, to be more about that connectedness, the coming together. It's not just me. It's like, even though that's not my family, I'm grieving too because you're going through the pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly where we are now. And so that's just a wonderful and a beautiful example that you just gave us about how we can really, truly, again, how we can alleviate others when we see them going through stress. Because I know the young lady, that was very stressful for her. That's a new dynamic, somebody lost. So that's a very good thing that you showed there, is the dynamic.
One of the beautiful parts of this energy, it feels very empowered. The whole situation with the entire planet, right? Because each of us are in different places, holding different energies as twins within the system. And there's been this whole, I feel the complete shift from the old paradigm into the new paradigm. And we're diving in with 1212. We're diving in wholly with a sense of nothing is the same, and how to anchor in the comfortability of newness. So as we start to awaken, because my son's waking up, as we start to awaken, we're starting to remember what's ours, what's real, what's permanent, and what's shifting out. And it's almost like we keep getting reassured. Maybe not with the unicorns. I forgot what else she asked for. 4 pieces of macaroni. That's all I remember, because I was like, that's hilarious. We don't need to be over confirmed. We're just at this state, and we know that the people around us in that early stage is asking for like the billion levels of confirmation just to make sure that they're doing the right thing, because we spend so much time in this world stepping into our own power, while we let those around us no longer have the same amount of control over our minds, over our hearts and our spirits, and things are now realigning. And so I'm really happy to say, if you're here and you're watching this right now, you're on the other side. It may not feel like it because you're still cleaning up the yard, you know what I mean? But once you're done and you take a look at it, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Because we're just trimming out all the fat. And I feel like even though a lot of us still are getting pushed to our edges or our levels, we are in an empowered state. So even though, like, people that we have interacted with, they may feel like, oh yes, this is our older way of doing something. She's why are you changing, right? Because they're coming at us that way. We're still allowing that to come in because we know that it takes time for other people to get that we are changed, that we are new. And that may seem like a perceived stress to that person, but to us, it adds a sense of peace because, yes, I get to reinforce that boundary. Yes, I get to reinforce this aspect of the newness of the self. And that's not the stressful part. The stressful part is, oh, maybe diet's off. Maybe, all these other things are off. And we're ironing it all out. It just takes a little bit of time to get out all those little wrinkles.
Yeah, and I'm finding too, and I see Kathy D and I too, and during these times, so we're kind of jumping on the stress or not, but the time of the energies, the ancestors are really coming in too as well. I done had a couple of my visitations of my ancestors talking about some things that they seen that needed to be taken off the plate, or something had to be shifted and adjusted until they really truly were acting truly as themselves or need to be in my space. And also have seen also with the DM's ancestors too, talking to them as well. And I was like, okay. And they're saying about some things that have been shifted and changed. So we've been very much watched. And so you might even have another layer of, you got some other parts of your team that's coming in to kind of rally to help you to deal with this transition period that you're actually about to embark on as well. And so we're getting pushed and we're getting support as we're going along with this next phase that with these energies. But you know what, again, you think about the stress, and that goes back again to the diamond. In order for you to become a diamond, you have to be stressed, you got to be pressurized, you got to be that to that end until to know what you're made up of, what things that you say can't stand to be get rid of. And so all of that pretty much ties into this new world, like April was talking about, that we're getting ready to. It's here already. It's just a point of it settling in and trying to overlap at the same time to really find like a puzzle piece. It's like almost like a landing. It's like, okay, now where do we fit? And we kind of settle in and we really get right into that space, into that groove where it's perfectly fit. So right now we're just kind of at that adjustment period. So it's also causing for us to adjust too, is ourselves, is how we have our being in the world in the 3D too. So but I'm finding, like I said, we're getting help. We're getting additional helps, not only from the angels, but our ancestors are coming as well to assist. So again, I would also say about how to deal with stress. One way is, again, is to allow to get help. I think I pulled one of the cards that talked about that yet on yesterday, to get help. And so call on your guides, angels, when you kind of at that point, like you say, about you're looking for the signs. You might not doing that more about unicorns and lucky charms and purple horseshoes and rainbows and all that stuff. But you can again now call on also some additional help to help you when those stressors do occur with you as well. And they'll send you also, hey Kelly Bell, they'll also send you messages as well that say you need to do this, you need to get rid of this needs to happen. I've been kind of going along with that too as well here lately about the ancestors coming too on that one. Kathy, did you want to chime in?
Well, yeah, as you were saying about the ancestors, I had actually two come visit me this morning. Music is a way that I get a lot of messages, and I've looked back at it and really kind of studied it, and even as a small child, certain voices, things like that would give me chills. I've always had a connection to music. Not musically inclined. I play the radio. That's my instrument. But
I like that.
and because I love everyone, I don't sing. But I I was listening to the Christmas music on the Hallmark Channel this morning, and as I was driving home from dropping my oldest off at high school, and it's about a 15-minute drive, and I'm driving back to the house, and the song White Christmas came on. And now I looked at the radio, I saw that's what the song was. I saw the woman's name that was singing it, but that was not who was singing it. It was my mother. And after that, Winter Wonderland came on. And once again, looked at the radio and it said Michael Bolton. Well, it wasn't Michael Bolton, it was my grandfather. And it was just confirmation to everything that had happened, that it was going to be okay, that they were there.
Mhm.
And that was one of those you're so happy you're just crying kind of, moments. To hear those voices again, especially after it had been so long since you'd heard them, but knew them immediately. And so yeah, your ancestors
Beautiful.
are coming in. But another thing, we talk about a diamond all the time, and that such a great analogy, for the stress and everything. But we forget one a lot of times, and that's a pearl. And a pearl is a piece of sand that got caught in an oyster and rubbed it wrong. And you know what? You think about these beautiful pearls. I mean, and all it is it's an irritation, because what that oyster does is it sends out like a slimy, snotty kind of thing to coat over that piece of sand to keep it from aggravating it and irritating it. And as it builds up, it builds that beautiful pearl. So from the pressures of life and the aggravations of life, we get diamonds and pearls. And I believe it's I can't remember the verse, but it says in the Bible, that we're worth our weight in diamonds and pearls. I think it is, and rubies and pearls. A woman's.
Oh my God. I had a dream and my dad talked about that today. And I was like, what was that about? And he showed me a whole bunch of rubies. And the one I got hot, so that's him. I got the rubies and pearls and sapphires. He threw sapphires in there. And he showed me a difference between those and a rock. And he was saying that, we had to kind of pretty much pay attention to how sometimes the rocks are trying to blend in with the sapphires and the rubies and the pearls as if they're one, but they're not. They're two separate things, and that we can't categorize the rocks with the sapphires and pearls and diamonds. That eventually they'll get there, because there are some types of rocks and coals that will, but it's a process to get there, so you can be a part of the rest of the diamonds and rubies and pearls. So you just did nothing but just like a confirmation. I had just had that. I had this dream this morning, and I could smell him getting ready. He usually has because magic shave. That's the thing. He used magic shave to shave off his beard and hair, facial hairs. And then I smelled him having cologne like he was getting ready. And he sat me down and he talked about the diamonds, the rubies, and the pearls. And I didn't think about putting that together. I'm gonna look up that Bible verse. So thank you for that. My name means pearl. Margaret said her name means pearl. Get on out of here with these confirmations. So thank you so very much for that confirmation too, as well, about that. So about the weight, as far as us as divine feminines, Two, I guess going through the what we going right now, the pressure of it all is also being in the lead, or being leaders for, again, for the connection or the partnership between that. It's kind of, to us, a couple of us, the pressure is, the heat is on. I'm him saying, singing the song, the heat is on. The heat is on, for us as well. And so it makes, that's another stressor too as well. It's like, am I doing right? I got to do for me. How do I do for two? How do I lead? That's another extra stressor, I think, for us as twin flames too, in the divine feminine energies. That's an extra layer too, that we have to deal with, the 3D and that too.
One thing I'd like to add, well, okay, one, definitely confirmation. And I wasn't going to say anything because it's not necessarily a blood relative, but my best friend who passed away visits me often. And then my grandpa just started chiming in recently. And it's just, one of the people has the name in the chat. So I'm just like, okay, all right, I see you, girl. I see you. But that whole stepping, oh my goodness, I'm just just filled with so much love and happidness right now, simply because this vibration that we're stepping into together, it's lighthearted. You know, when we talk about that pressure we're adding to ourselves, I like to envision myself, and this is like not an official meditation, but you can do this whenever you like. So let's just do it anyway. Okay, everybody, take a deep breath. Set your bubble of protection. Here, you want to listen? He pulled the headphone out of my ear. Here, you want to listen? Here, there you go. So, take a deep breath. Feel into your body. Kind of wiggle a little bit. Let yourself know that you're here and awakened. Just let out a sigh. Relax. Now, imagine the bubble, the protection bubble. And now that you've got the protection bubble around you, your angels, guardians, ancestors, everyone surrounding you and facing outward to protect you. And so you're in this space. Now, envision the pressures coming at you. Financial, familial, just, could be work, whatever is just pressing on you. Imagine it pressing. Everyone is pushing back. Everyone that's guarding and protecting you is pushing back. And they're walking with you. And I want you to envision yourself walking forward, but layers of you are peeling off. So it's like you in this kind of echo type thing. You know the ripples of water? If visual space was water, you're stepping out of that old and into the new you, and that new you is in now. You keep walking, and the old is falling away and the new is becoming. And if you can envision, whenever you're starting to feel that panicky feeling or that just overloaded feeling, stepping out of the overload, your protection, shifting that away from you, and you becoming new, even deep down to each single cell of you becoming new, you create this alchemical magic. Okay, now just go ahead, open your eyes, be in the now. So the one thing about that stepping into the new is you have guides, you have guardians all around you. And this is where you then fill up that place, right? Because we can seek the worry again. But if you fill that space up with joy or something that brings you happiness from when you were a child, like I definitely started singing again, I started playing again, being silly, just because it's fun to be silly. And this will really help shift these vibrations, not only yours, but the ones of the people around you. You're going to start to see some really beautiful things happen. So if this is later on and you're watching this, or you feel something from this later on and things shift, please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You decide to get off of that, you can deal with them.
Yeah, so most definitely those are the things that you have to deal with as far as when we're talking about stressors and that things. What would you say are some things that, like, when stress does happen, as far as like uh, body wise or whatever? Because I was about to say, let's go into some key tips that we could do. We see the meditation. What are some like quick things that you do, or maybe a good go-to thing?
I like to squeeze my lower tension, which is like
Okay.
your pelvic floor muscles, your anus, all that. You squeeze it
Okay.
because, believe it or not, you're letting all your power out and it's just draining out. So there's an energy meridian that goes around.
Okay.
So I like to kind of do that and then maybe squeeze my lower abs or my abs if I can.
Okay.
Because then it starts to bring my power back to me.
Okay.
You can feel your fire start to burn. It's a very simple thing where you just, I call it the butt pucker, making diamonds, right?
Okay.
Diamonds. So you just make a diamond.
Okay.
And then you'll start to see that you're no longer giving your power away to whatever's stressing you. And you can start to pinpoint it. That's an easy physical one.
I like that.
Always with the breath.
Okay.
Right? But sometimes you are holding your breath or you're not even realizing it. But they're just little things that you can do to try to make yourself remind. Baby, what's up with you? But yeah, just to remind yourself that this isn't forever. This isn't always this moment.
That is true.
And that's one of the things that helps prevent from overwhelm is the that sense of non-permanency.
Okay.
Just it's not a physical thing, but it is a mental thing. That's a very easy thing to kind of give yourself, saying this isn't forever. Oh, he's so sleepy, but he's like refusing. Anybody else refusing to rest? You gotta just keep going and going.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. I feel energized. I want to be a part of everything, but then I crash and burn.
There's also this, like
Like the fishing balls.
you can either there doesn't have to be if you don't have the stress relieving balls, but just squeezing that was going to give you that sense of empowerment, that sense of release as well.
Yes.
I've been just laughing. There's a laughing meditation. You do feel kind of silly, but you just laugh until it becomes natural, and it just changes the energy.
Yeah, I remember one time somebody was saying, like, if you were down, somebody was like, I don't forgot. I was watching a video and I didn't know what that had did. She was like, put a pencil or something in your mouth, which would cause it to seem like you're smiling, and put your hands up in some kind of way that would like change the energy. I didn't know what that was about, but that was kind of an interesting thing, like just smile, and that kind of shifts the energies too, as well for that. So I thought that was an interesting thing. Like I said, again, for stressors, of course, I know Patricia McNeely, who's going to be on here too, always says about if it's stressing, get out in nature, let that air, let that energy dissipate. If you're talking to somebody, she's always saying, and they're the ones that's causing the stress, to move from one room to another, that's another way. You like to laugh like Santa Claus, like Santa. Oh, yeah. So you could do that.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. As well, play music, shift the energy that's more uplifting, as well. That's another thing that you could do, which to deal with stressors, as well. And I really like that comment, that the statement that you said, suggestion, April, where you said to remind yourself that it doesn't last always, because again, the trouble doesn't last always. That's a good way of doing that, because I think a lot of times we keep ourselves in that continuous loop, as well, that thinking when the stressor comes, it's like it will never end.
And the body itself will naturally hold its breath, hold its posture, start to stiffen, except for the lower tension, except for those pelvic floor muscles. Those will always remain open. So like when you pee, or they say when you're scared or something like that, you'll pee, or whatever. Animals do this. That's what part of our animal nature is. But fight or flight is just release and go. Right?
Go, right.
So gather and hold that peace in your inner core.
Gotcha.
But then you can release everything else. You take that breath. Because once you squeeze, you naturally kind of want to breathe. It's
right.
part of that cycle of the energy.
Okay.
So it's another way to encourage yourself to kind of keep going. And also just realizing how you're carrying yourself. Because when you squeeze that, you don't have to squeeze it hard. You can just squeeze it lightly. It starts, I don't know if you can feel that energy rising, but it starts that kundalini type of energy. And so that's what's empowering you, your spirit self, to come through you as the divine being that you are. Right. And don't get me wrong, when you start doing this, it's going to pull out of others things that are going to try to shift you back into that mode. But you get to redo this to re-strengthen yourself.
Right. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're about to wrap up anyway. We're going to kind of do that part. I was Margaret. Left eye was twitching too. What's that? She said her left eye. She says her left eye's been twitching. I don't know. I guess that's part of what's happening with this 12/12 portal as well. Doing all the twitching. I was like, where's this from? It just started as well for me. So
natural. For me right now is showing something about how the divine feminine is seeing her power.
Right.
Because we think that power is masculine, right? And so I found that a lot of women, when they refer to being strong, they say, oh, I was being bitchy, or I was acting like a man, or, whatever. Yeah. Instead of divine feminine grace, which is, it's just a powerful woman. I don't need to be called the B word in order to feel powerful.
Right.
I can be powerful and just say this with care and love.
Right.
Don't touch that hot plate. You will burn yourself. I'm not going to say, no. That doesn't help. That's going to escalate a situation. But, it's very interesting. So maybe there's something about the dynamic of how we deliver our power and how we see the world, of whether it is balanced or so.
Yeah, I feel that. I like that very
and
much.
The right eye damp. Oh, these DMs be crying. They've been going through some things.
Yeah, right. It's just sweating. My eye is sweating. Now you're crying. Now it's just sweating a little bit. It's sweating. That's all. That's all. So I think we're gonna wrap up things here because we're ready for the event. Make sure that you go to divineunisoul.co and you make sure that you get your ticket for it. It's the 12 for $12.12. It's gonna happen at 12. Yes. Okay. So we can make sure that we can get our divine
iPad. You want to watch iPad?
Divine masculine thing in order as well. That's all right. To get into order. All right. As well. Well, I see a comment. Did somebody else say? I've had to bring that forward. Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what we did. And making sure. Let's go through each one of our. We got for this the golden life. Let me put this off. This banner is stuck here. Thank you. All right. Our own April Williams from Made for This Golden Life.com.
Things are moving and shaking, and I am grateful for the opportunity to continue to love. I will start putting out more videos more regularly. I'm also going to be working with this whole new dynamic. So Bonita, I think she got off already, but I just want you to know I'm going to be calling you up and we're going to be doing some work because this new family dynamic is incredibly powerful. It's a matter of standing in our power in order to hold the flag for it.
Yeah, we got some new stuff coming in, so that's why you want to make sure you go to the 12/12 event and hop on there and get that. Also for our own Kathy D, Pineapple Fish Life Coaching.com. She got a lot of great things that she's got a special for the holidays that's going on, and definitely things that I know that's going to deal with energies that's going on, and there's probably also stressors in that package as well. So make sure that you want to, if you like to, you need to talk to somebody, or you need some hypnosis, or you need some either mind things on how to deal with daily stressors. Make sure you hit pineapplefishlifecoaching.com as well. All right. And then also you can hit divineunisource11.co, not only for to get your access pass to the event tomorrow, 12/12 event, but make sure that you also take time out so you can be able to, also you can get a reading with me. I'm still working on the Divine Masculine instant readings as well, but I am going to, starting next week, I'll put it on sale, all my little instant reads where you want an instant reading about what's going on. You don't have to wait for it to get a reading from me. There will be $1. So that will start next week. So that could be a special. That's my holiday treat to you all as well for the holidays. So you can kind of see where the energies are leading you into then. And so you can also get your transformational readings as well for me. Is if you need help to understand what areas you need to change in your life, that is one way that you can do it. It's a Zoom call, and it's also a video reading as well. So that's an excellent thing for you to do, so you can be able to get shifted and get ready for the 12/21 portal that is actually happening and occurring. All right, then you came just in time. It's time to get us on out of here, Kathy. All right, then. So everybody know their assignment, like us teachers telling you, go get your ticket, your access pass, and then the things what you need to do for when you are stressed. All right, then, Kathy D, get us on out of here.
Make sure you empty the sand out of your shoes. You get your own bucket. You clean up your mess afterwards, and you leave it a better place than the way you found it. Wishing you the best life ever. See you real soon.
All right, now, and she winked at us. All snap, she getting all sexy fine with us. And then April, well, okay, got this. A low high. No, she's busy. She's busy. She's taking care of a little nephew over there. But you know, she's wishing you the best life ever, because this is you were made for this golden life. There she goes. Did she got it? Did I say it right? I was hoping I scripted right. And always with me, perfect. I stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Now stay, and I'm gonna go. Mwah! Love you. Until next time, everybody. All right then. See ya.